good times and hard times. But looking back at my life, I can honestly say that God has been very kind to us. In a way, my journey has been steered along the way by asking a simple but important question. And the question is, how can I serve God best with the gifts He has entrusted to me? Of course, it is right and good that we frame our lives as servants of God. Servants of God living for His glory, as we've already seen in the first 2 days of the conference. Remember, in Romans 12 verse 1, the Apostle Paul puts it like this. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. Remember, God's mercy to us can be clearly seen in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. He died for us that we might be made right with God and saved from His wrath. Therefore, we offer our bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. And this is our spiritual, our rational, our reasonable service. In other words, in view of God's mercy, serving God with all that we are makes perfect sense. In view of God's mercy, the question all of us must ask and answer is the same one that led me into ministry. How can I serve God best with the gifts He has entrusted to me? Today, as we move on to Romans 12 verses 3 to 8, we will consider that question and what it means for us as clergy and for the lay people in our congregations. Now, a good starting point for working out how we can best serve the Lord with our lives is to have a right view of ourselves. Look with me at Paul's instruction in verse 3. For by the grace given me, I say to every one of you, do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment, in accordance with the measure of faith God has given you. Brothers and sisters, God has made us all different. The The grace given to Paul was the calling to be an apostle.
Imbabazi zahirwe Paulo no kwitwa kuba entumwa.
Paul was called and sent by Jesus to be his apostle to the Gentiles.
Paulo akwitwa Yesu no kutumwa mu banyamahanga nk'entumwa.
This makes his words authoritative alongside the other inspired scriptures that now stand in the Bible.
Ekintu cyo kuretera ebigambo bye byabe bigira obushoborozi nk'ebindi byone biri mu Bibuli.
Now our calling is not his calling,
Mbwe no kwetwa kwitu kandi kushana nokwe.
but the instruction given is relevant for us all.
Kuka twena nturagirwa omuringo gukushana.
We must all have a right view of ourselves to be.
Tusheme kwetekatekaho mu buryo burungi twaza kuhereza Ruhanga uko arikwenda.
This verse is saying that as Christians we shouldn't think that we are God's gift to the world.
Erunyiroro ntureza ngo tureke kutekateka ngo turye biconco by'amani omunsi.
We shouldn't think we are more important or better than we really are.
Tusheme kwetekateka ngo turye abamani okukiro kuturi.
This verse is saying we should be humble rather than proud.
Orunyiroro tuyusya ngo tuba abacurezi omwanya gwo kwetungura.
Not just in how we speak out about ourselves to others,
Tutari kugira ngo kutukwegambaho omisho g'abandi.
but how we think about ourselves before God.
Okukira munonga twerebe okutwetekatekaho omisho ga Ruhanga.
You see, there is no place for pride in the Christian life.
Bishemwe mwijukirwe ngo mukujunwa atari mu mwanya gw'omwehururo.
Everything we have has been given to us by God.
Ebitwine byona n'embabazi ahabwa Ruhanga.
Our salvation,
Okujunwa kwitu,
our practical skills,
okutukora emitwarize yitu,
our wealth,
obwiga bwitu,
our word skills,
gamba.
every ability we have has been graciously given to us by God.
Ekituri kyona tukirwa bw'embabazi za Ruhanga.
And so we are to think soberly or sensibly about ourselves
Aho ekyo tugume twetekatekeho gye munonga omisho ga Ruhanga.
in accordance with the measure of faith God has given us.
Okurugirira oku Ruhanga tugeriire buri muntu okwikiriza kwe.
In accordance with the measure of faith God has given you is a strange phrase.
Okurugirira okw'embabazi kwikiriza kwa Ruhanga kurya hariwe n'orunyiriro rwo kutekatekaho munonga.
Paul probably means
Obundi Paulo aha namanyisa
all of you have been given your saving faith in Christ,
mwena mukaherwa gw'okujunwa ahabwo kwikiriza Kristo.
and that is how you are to measure yourself.
Aho niho tukutandikira okwepimira.
We are all humbled and highly valued.
Twena turi abahansi konka turi ab'omuhendo turi ab'omuhendo
by our knowledge that we are saved by grace alone through faith in Christ alone.
okumanya ngu twena ntujunwa habw'embabazi omuri Kristo wenka.
The gospel reminds us that we are all equal,
Enjiri netuyusya ngu twena ntwingana
yet we are all different as well.
konka tukushana kandi nabwo.
And so we are to think of ourselves soberly and humbly in the light of the gospel.
Nahabwa ekyo twetekatekeho gye kandi n'obucurezi omumisho g'enjiri.
Now, if you are a person who is actively involved in serving God,
Ngene kuraba ori omuntu oine amaani omu kuheereza Ruhanga.
as an ordained person,
Nk'omuntu oyahwirwe
leading and preaching,
oyebembire n'obuurira n'enjiri.
doing children's work or youth work,
Ori omwebembezi w'eminyeto ninga w'abaana.
or helping with Sunday services, whatever it is,
Ky'orikukora kyona yaba noohwera omu service ha Sunday.
you will know the temptation to pride that comes.
Mbwenu oyerinde ahabwa omutego gw'okwepaaka omu buheereza bwawe.
It's easy to start thinking